Full Circle by John Buchan. Chapter 1. One late afternoon in October, Lethan and I climbed the hill above the stream and came in sight of the house. It had been a beautiful, misty morning, but now the mist had cleared. The warm sunshine of autumn shone on the fields, and on the trees the leaves were red and gold. We were looking down into a little valley like a green cup in the hills. It was a beautiful place. There was an old stone wall and a little wood. Then there was smooth green grass and a tiny lake. And at the heart of it all, like a jewel in a ring, stood the house. It was very small, but everything about it was quite perfect. It was old, perhaps 17th century, with large light windows and pale stone walls. Lethan looked at me. "Isn't it fine?" he said to me. "It was built by the great Sir Christopher Wren. You know, the man who built St. Paul's Cathedral in London. The house has a most unusual name, too. It's called Full Circle. Don't you think that name suits it rather well?" He told me the story of the house. "It was built about 1660 by Lord Carteret. He didn't like the bright lights of the city. He was a sensitive and well-educated man and wrote some fine books in English and Latin. He loved beautiful things, and he employed the best builders and gardeners in England to work on Full Circle. The result was a wonderful success for Wren, for the garden planners, and for Carteret himself. A triumph, in fact. When the house was finished, he hid himself away for months at a time, with only a few good friends and his beloved books and garden. Rather a selfish man, really. He didn't do much for his king or his country, but he certainly had style. He knew how to enjoy life. He knew how to live well. He did only one foolish thing in his whole life. He became a Catholic. That was a dangerous thing to do in those days. Catholics were not popular then. Fortunately, nobody punished him for it." "What happened to the house after Lord Carteret died?" I asked. "He had no children, so some cousins moved into the house. Then in the 18th century, the Applebys bought Full Circle. They were country gentlemen and very fond of hunting and shooting. They didn't take very good care of the library, but they enjoyed life, too, in their own way. Old John Appleby was a friend of mine. Something went wrong with his stomach when he was about 70. The doctor decided to forbid him to drink whiskey. Poor old John, he had never drunk really heavily, although he always enjoyed a drink. Do you know, Lethan, he told me, since I stopped drinking whiskey, I realized something. I've lived a long life, a useful one too, I hope, but in all that time, I've never been completely sober. Anyway, he died last year. He was a good old man, and I still miss him. The house went to a distant cousin called Giffen." He laughed. "Julian and Ursula Giffen. Perhaps you've heard of them. People like the Giffens always go about in pairs. They write books about society and personal relationships. Books called The New Something, or Towards Something Else, or An Examination of Something Completely Different. You know the sort of thing. Good, kind people, but extraordinarily silly. I first met them at a trial. The criminal was certainly guilty, but the police couldn't prove it. The Giffens were involved, of course. They felt sorry for the poor criminal. Well, I went 2 or 3 times to their house in North London. Dear God, what a place. No comfortable chairs, and the ugliest curtains I've ever seen. No style, you see. They didn't know how to live well." "I'm surprised that you're so friendly with them," I said. "They don't sound your kind of couple at all." "Oh, I like human beings. Lawyers like me have to study people. It's part of our job. And really, the Giffens have hearts of gold. They're sensitive and kind and somehow very innocent. They know so little about life. I wonder how they will like living in Full Circle." Chapter 2. Just then we heard the sound of bicycle wheels on the road. The rider saw Lethan and got off his bike. He was quite tall, perhaps 40 years old, A big brown beard covered the lower half of his thin, pale, serious face. Thick glasses covered his short-sighted eyes. He wore short brown trousers and a rather ugly green shirt. "This is Julian Giffen," said Lethem to me. "Julian, this is Harry Peck. He's staying with me. We stopped to look at your house. Could we possibly have a quick look inside? I want Peck to see the staircase." "Of course," said Mr. Giffen. "I've just been into the village to post a letter. I hope you'll stay to tea. Some very interesting people are coming for the weekend." He was gentle and polite, and clearly he loved talking. He led us through a gate and into a perfect little rose garden. Then we stood in front of the doorway, with Carpe Diem above the door. I have never seen anything like that hall, with its lovely curving staircase. It was small, but every detail was perfect. It seemed full of sunlight, and it had an air of peace, confidence, and happiness. Giffen led us into a room on the left. "You remember the house in Mr. Appleby's time, don't you, Lethem? This was the chapel. We've made a few changes. Excuse me, Mr. Peck, you aren't a Catholic, are you?" It was a beautiful little room. It had the same look of sunny cheerfulness as the rest of the house. But there were new wooden shelves against the walls. They were covered with ugly new paperback books and piles of papers. A big table with a green tablecloth filled most of the floor. 2 typewriters stood on a side table. "This is our workroom," explained Giffen. "We hold our Sunday meetings here. Ursula thinks that every weekend we ought to produce some really useful work. We welcome busy people to our home, and we give them a pleasant place to work in." A woman came into the room. She could be pretty, I said to myself, if she tried. But she didn't try. She had tied back her reddish hair behind her ears. Her clothes were ugly and wildly unsuitable for a country life. She had bright, eager eyes like a bird, and her hands trembled nervously. She greeted Lethem warmly. "We're so comfortable here," she said. "Julian and I feel as if we've always lived here. Our life has arranged itself so perfectly. My home for unmarried mothers in the village will soon be ready. I plan to bring young women from London to it. Our workers' education classes will open in the winter. And it's so nice to invite our friends here. Won't you stay to tea? Dr. Swope is coming, and Mary Elliston from the New Society Group, and Mr. Percy Blaker from Free Thought magazine. I'm sure you'll enjoy meeting them. Must you hurry away? I'm so sorry. What do you think of our workroom? It was horrible when we arrived here, a kind of chapel, rather dark and mysterious. It's so much lighter and brighter now." "Yes," I remarked politely. "The whole house looks beautifully light and bright." "Ah, you've noticed. It's a strangely happy place to live in. It's just right for us, of course. It's so easy to influence it, to change it to suit our way of life." We said goodbye. We did not wish to meet Dr. Swope or Mary Elliston or Mr. Percy Blaker. When we reached the road, we stopped and looked down again at the little house. The setting sun had turned the pale stone walls to gold. It looked very calm and peaceful. I thought about the good-hearted couple inside its walls, and suddenly they seemed unimportant. They just did not matter. The house was the important thing. It had a masterful look. It seemed timeless, ageless, confident in its beauty. "Mrs. Giffen won't find it easy to influence this house," I said to myself. "It's much more likely to influence her." That night in the library of his house, Lethem talked about the 17th century. "The previous century was full of darkness, mystery, and fear. The people knew all about pain and death. They lived with pain and death every day, and they faced them bravely. They had their happy times, of course, but they had their dark, desperate ones, too. Their lives were like our weather, storm and sun. After 1660, things were different, calmer, less troubled. Those people knew how to live. Look at Full Circle. There are no dark corners there. The man who built it understood how to find calm, gentle enjoyment in life. The trouble was, he was afraid of death. So he joined the Catholic Church, just to make sure. Chapter 3. 2 years later, I saw the Giffens again. It was almost the end of the fishing season. I had taken a day off from my work, and I was doing a little gentle fishing in a river near Lethan's house. Another man was fishing from the opposite bank. It was Giffen. I stood watching while he caught a large fish. Later I called to him, and we ate our sandwiches together. He had changed a lot. He'd shaved off his beard, and his face looked less thin and less serious than before. He was sunburnt, too, and looked more like a countryman than before. His clothes, too, were different. They were good, sensible country clothes, and suited him well. "I didn't know you were a fisherman," I said to him. "Oh, yes," he said. "I love it. This is only my second season of fishing, and I'm learning all the time. I wish I'd started years ago. I never realized what good fun fishing was. Isn't this a beautiful place?" "I'm glad you enjoy fishing," I said. "It'll help you to enjoy your weekends in the country." "Oh, we don't go to London much these days," he answered. "We sold our London house a year ago. We never felt at home in London somehow. We are both so happy here. It's nice to see things growing." I liked him. He was beginning to talk like a true countryman. After a good day's fishing, he persuaded me to spend the night at Full Circle. "You can catch the early train tomorrow morning," he said. He drove me there in his little green car. What has happened to his bicycle, I wondered, along 4 miles of country road, with the birds singing in every tree. Dinner was my first big surprise. It was simple but perfectly cooked, with wonderful fresh vegetables. There was some excellent wine, too. Strange, I thought. I'm sure the Giffens are the authors of Stay Sober, Stay Healthy. My second surprise was Mrs. Giffen herself. Her clothes were pretty and sensible, and they suited her perfectly. But the real difference was in her face. I suddenly realized that she was a pretty woman. Her face seemed softer and rounder. She looked calm and happy, and pleased with her life. I asked about her home for unmarried mothers. She laughed cheerfully. "I closed it after the first year. The mothers didn't feel comfortable with the people in the village. Londoners don't like the country. It's too quiet for them, I suppose. Julian and I have decided that our business is to look after our own people here in the country." Perhaps it was unkind of me, but I mentioned the workers' education classes. Giffen looked a little ashamed. "I stopped it because I didn't think it was doing any good. Why give people things that they don't need? Education is a wonderful thing, but education, like medicine, is only useful when a person needs it. And the people here don't need it. They can teach me so much about the important things in life. I don't have anything so important to teach them." "Anyway, dear," said his wife, "you're so busy with the house and the garden and the farm. It isn't a large place, but it takes up a lot of your time." I noticed a picture on the dining room wall. It showed a middle-aged man in the clothes of the late 17th century. He had a sensitive, intelligent face. "That's an interesting picture," I said to Giffen. "That's Lord Carteron," he said. "He built this house. We've fallen in love with Full Circle, you see. We wanted a picture of its builder. I found this one at a big sale in London, and I had to pay a lot of money for it. It's a nice picture to live with." He was right. It was a most pleasing picture. The face in the picture looked confident and sensible. It was a kind face, but it had a rather masterful look about it. A good friend, I thought, and an amusing companion. Giffen saw me looking and smiled. "I like having him in the house," he said. We moved into the room beside the hall. 2 years before, it had been the Giffens' workroom. Now I saw with surprise it was a kind of smoking room. There were comfortable leather chairs and beautiful old wooden bookshelves. On the wall were pictures of people hunting and fishing. Above the fireplace was a stag's head. "I shot him last year in Scotland," said Giffen triumphantly. "My first stag." That surprised me. So Julian Giffen enjoyed hunting as well as fishing. It was very unexpected. On a little table were copies of The Field, Country Life, and other magazines. Nothing educational at all. Giffen saw the surprise on my face. "We get these magazines for our guests," he said. "And who are the guests? Not Dr. Swope and his companion, surely," I said to myself with a secret smile. I have many faults, and one of them is looking at other people's books. I examined the books in the Giffen's bookshelves and was pleasantly surprised. All my old favourites were there. There was nothing about the new something or towards something else or an examination of something completely different. As I sat in my comfortable chair, I had a very strange feeling. It seemed to me that I was watching a play. The Giffens were the actors, and they were moving quite happily about the stage in obedience to some unseen stage manager. Then, as I looked, the actors and the stage seemed to disappear. I was conscious of only one person, the house itself. It sat there in its little valley, smiling at all our modern ideas, and all the time its spirit worked its gentle influence on those who loved it. The house was more than a building. It was an art, a way of life. Its spirit was older than Carteron, older than England. A long time ago in ancient Greece and Rome there were places like Full Circle. But in those days they were called temples, and gods lived in them. But Giffen was talking about his books. "I've been relearning my Latin and Greek," he said. "I haven't looked at them since I left university, and there are so many good English books, too, that I haven't read yet. I wish I had more time for reading. It means a lot to me." "There are so many lovely things to do here," said his wife. "The days are too short. It's lovely to be busy doing things that I really enjoy." "All the same," said Giffen, "I wish I could do more reading. I never wanted to before." "But you come in tired from your shooting, and then you sleep until dinner," said his wife lovingly. They were happy people, and I like happiness. They know how to enjoy life, I thought. Then I had a feeling of uneasiness. They have changed so quickly, I thought. Too quickly. Something or someone has influenced them. They are nicer, pleasanter people now, but are they free? Are they doing what they want to do, or are they just actors on a stage? As Mrs. Giffen showed me up to my room, she smiled and said, "Isn't it wonderful? We found the perfect house for us. It's been so easy to change it to suit our way of life." I looked at her, and I wondered again who was doing the changing. Chapter 4. One November afternoon, Lethan and I were coming home from a ride. We were cold and wet and very tired. "Let's look in at Full Circle," said Lethan. "It isn't far, and the Giffens will give us tea. You'll find a few changes there." "What changes?" I asked. "Wait and see," said Lethan with a smile. I wondered about these changes as we rode towards the house. Nothing bad, surely. The little house would never allow it. The house was lovelier than ever. Outside it was a dark November day, but the house seemed full of sunshine. A bright fire burned in the fireplace. There was a smell of wood smoke and flowers, and the house felt as warm and as kind as summer. We sat by the dining-room fire, drinking our hot tea. I looked around for the changes that Lethan had mentioned. I did not find them in Giffen. He was exactly as I remembered him that June night after our fishing. He looked like an intelligent, sensitive man, completely happy with his life. Was it my imagination, or did he look a little like the picture of Lord Carteron? I looked at him, and then at the picture. Yes, I thought, there is something there. But his wife, the change was unmistakable. She was a little fatter, a little rounder. There were rings on her pretty hands. She talked more and laughed more often. "We are going to give a dance at Christmas," she said. "Promise me you'll come. We must do something to make the country cheerful in winter time." "To me," I said, "Full Circle seems cheerful all through the year." "How kind of you to say that," she said. "If you say nice things about our house, you're really saying them about us, too." A house is just what its owners make of it. I was filling my pipe in the hall. I was just going to take it into the smoking room when Giffen stopped me. "We don't smoke there now," he said. He opened the door, and I looked in. The bookshelves had disappeared. It looked like a church. There was a little altar at one end of the room and a big silver cross. A silver lamp burned on the altar. Giffen shut the door quietly. "Perhaps you didn't know. Some months ago, my wife became a Catholic. So we made this room into a chapel again. It always was a chapel, of course, in the days of the Carterans and the Applebys." "And you?" I asked. "I don't think much about these things, but I'll do the same soon. It will please Ursula if we pray together, and it can't harm anybody." Chapter 5. Lethan and I stopped at the top of the hill and looked down again into the little green valley. Lethan laughed softly. "That house," he said. "I'm going to read everything I can find about old Carteron. I'm sure he was an extraordinarily clever man. I'm sure his spirit is still alive down there. He's making other people do as he did. You can send away the chaplain and turn the house upside down, but Carteron will get what he wants in the end." The sun came out from behind a cloud and shone on the stone walls of Full Circle. It seemed to me that the house had a look of gentle triumph.